Hey everyone, welcome to BarnBridge project call number 32. Our last project call update before the new year. I'm going to pass it over to Bogdan in a moment for some dev updates, but just a quick note. We're going to keep running the community AMAs each week later in the week. So Tyler will be on this Friday for an AMA. But for this project call, we'll pass it over to Bogdan and the DMOB team for dev updates. So Bogdan, take it away.
Thanks, Christian. Well, project call 32. I'm honestly surprised with that. And it's a bi-weekly, so it's what, 60 something weeks already. Time flies. Okay, so I'm gonna do this update in yet another different way, because it's close to the holidays and I know everyone is interested in hearing about the roadmap more than anything else. There will be, as promised on Discord, and maybe I think I've also mentioned this in the last call, there will be a big article, and it's going to be as a part of a series of posts that will cover anything and everything you guys want to know about this second leg of the BarnBridge white paper roadmap. It's likely to be like a three-piece meal with the articles. The first post will go into excruciating detail on the new fixed rate product that we kept teasing, which was officially christened with a name that I will not spoil now, because it's going to be in the article. I can tell you though that about the naming, we'll be dropping the smart prefix for this one. So of course, unless you guys insist on having it in the, in which case we'll add it. We've thought we're gonna move away from the smart prefix for the products, at least for this one, for the, as I call it, BarnBridge 2.0. Anyway, the second piece in the series is going to be on Smart Tilt V2. It's going to go into the same level of detail that you'd expect from it. It's going to be focused mainly on a comparison between V1 and V2 and why we think it would work well, work better than V1. And finally, the third article and final one will probably cover and spoil with some visuals the UI updates, both for mobile and the design system. It's going to have an overview and a recap of the roadmap and sort of detailed timelines that will put sort of months and dates on the release plans. So as a short conclusion, there will be written artifacts of this. Like you're gonna have something to read when you pull out your phone when you're bored at the Christmas table. So it's probably gonna come out tomorrow, the first piece in this 3 series on the roadmap. I mean, let's go through a very light round of updates on what we've been up to in the past couple of weeks, and then I'll dig into the first leg of the roadmap afterwards. First up, we have infrastructure and backend as a category, and we can probably say that we have all of the optimism work done on this front. We were close to having it finished last time, but we didn't actually realize how close we weren't. So anyway, everything is now prepared. We're still debating whether it makes sense to deploy a smart alpha pool on Optimism before the holidays. I'm thinking not, because almost everyone is going away for the holidays, and yeah, we're thinking we can keep it for after the holidays. Second category on the list, we have product updates. We've been doing some front-end work here. We have the Smart Alpha forum modifications, like those that we promised last time. I won't go into much detail on them, just quickly point them out. It's the showing the current price of the underlying Smart Alpha pool tokens and the price where if it reaches it, the downside leverage resets to 1. And we have the toggle from current to estimated epoch, which is now on the overview page of Smart Alpha. The other points that we haven't addressed from the forum proposal are still TBD, but most of them are going to be part of the V2 of the UI updates. So yeah, there will be a teaser of this and how it's going to look like as part of the article series, as I mentioned. But that's what we have so far from the forum proposal. We also have, still on the front end side, we have some DAO updates and yield farming page updates. These were not as explicitly requested, but quietly requested. Some small things that we just felt are worth adding into the app for a very small refresh of two of the oldest screens in the app, actually, the yield farming one and the governance one. Mostly DAO focused stuff. We now show the governance staking APR, the weekly rewards from the DAO, as well as some sort of at a glance stats about these on the yield farming page. So we have a card that that's similar to the yield farming pool cards for the DAO, where you can see your stats and stuff like that. Okay, third category on the list would be new product updates. This one I'm not really going to say a lot on, other than we have reworked, and then probably reworked some more the roadmap and the timeline charts. All of this was to organize things in the best possible way and done in such a way that we can parallelize the work we have to put into it in the most efficient possible way between the two product lines, as well as all of the other work on the app that we plan on doing. And when I say efficiently, I mean we want to get all of these out in the shortest possible time. So we optimized for the quickest release times. Finally, like the fourth category, I just want to quickly touch on some of the layer 2 stuff that we've been doing, and that's mainly on optimism. So optimism mainnet is done. It's ready to host some smart alpha pools. We are working with Chainlink to add a bond price feed there, so we can have a bond USD smart alpha pool on optimism. And the latest news, we have the bond token on optimism, so you can now find it on the optimism gateway page. It's on, I think, gateway.optimism.io. Anyway, you can now bridge bond tokens to optimism. So that's a nifty little update. I've gone through all of the categories. I think this is pretty much it for the dev part of the updates. I'm going to move to the walkthrough for the roadmap. It's, as I said, it's in the form of a timeline chart. This will be available in an article, so you guys can look at it. I'll just go through one of them, just the one for the first product, because these sort of timeline charts are both very similar in terms of what we do during the development stages, and similar in terms of the length of the different steps. 1 second. Yeah, I'll cue Dragos now. Yeah, he's already had stuff open. Yeah, this is the timeline chart I'm talking about. I have a mess of notes in front of me, so that's why I've asked Dragos to do this part, because I want to make sure I hit all of the sort of important points without relying on memory too much. So here it is, and it's a long-awaited glory, the timeline chart for the first product. So we see the tracks that we're used to hearing about: smart contracts, design and front end, back end and infra, and then on the bottom we see testing. So let's go from top to bottom with this one. For the first track in red, we have smart contracts. It is split into 4 blobs, 4 parts. This is the track which is already halfway done. So the part that's in solid red is the part that's already done. You can also tell by the time axis on the bottom. This is the research and design part of the spec. I know I've mentioned this on a couple of previous calls. I know we said that the specking and design takes the most time, and writing the code might take days, but we weren't actually saying that this is always the case. So it's just from what our experience, what happened with the Smart Alpha, it was less so with Smart Yield, and it might even be lesser so with these 2 new products. They're totally different beasts when it comes to comparing them to existing products. It's like we're exploring new territory with this. So That's why it seems like there's a lot of time dedicated to the smart contracts. The spec was the hard part, and it is going to help with the code, and it's going to help with the UI and UX decisions a lot. But writing code is the creative part. Creative processes are inherently unpredictable. So yeah, the different inputs in terms of the 8 weeks you see might yield different results. And like we have to be aware that this is a huge part of why we laid out 8 weeks for the design and the spec of the smart contracts. 8 weeks out of which we can see we have the holidays right in the middle of them. And that's a buffer that not only splits the timeline in half, but it kind of also splits the focus of the entire process. So that's why it ends up taking a bit more than we said. Anyway, this part does not only include writing the code, but it also includes coming up with test cases for complicated scenarios and writing those tests, which is a very important step. It ensures the security of the contracts, and it's something that we've always taken very seriously. And as always, after coming up with the test cases and writing them, like the fact that we're going to have close to final contracts is also going to trigger a new round of feedback and internal reviews. So all in all, the process of writing the code, the test for it, is estimated to take until February. At which point we are going to be able to send the code for audits, and the audit part and whatever post-audit remediations we have to do, those are estimated to take until March. Right? Yeah, as per the timeline. Okay, on to the second track. We have the design and front-end track. This will kick off with Dennis putting up some wireframes. It's what we usually do with the UI stuff. It's going to end sometime in February. I mean, after the wireframes, we go through like successive rounds of internal feedback. And I mean, until the designs are finalized, it's probably going to take 4 weeks for that. And this process overlaps with the final part of the smart contract design work, as it can, I mean, and it does rely mostly on the interfaces of the contracts more so than their final versions. But yeah, it's like another benefit of having gone through the speccing part before starting on the Solidity code. It's going to help with the UI stuff a lot. And right after the designs are finished, they're not going to be necessarily in their final form though. Things usually shift around as we move. Front-end work on the app can kick off. And this is the part of the track that's estimated to run for 6 weeks. During this part, we start with putting up the static version of the app, so just the screens from the designs. We go through round after round of polishing for those, and finally we start connecting it to the backend and the smart contracts. And this part where we connect it to the backend and the smart contracts is the part of the track that we usually spend the most time on. It's essentially the part of the entire process that makes the app work. We spend most of the time here, like making sure that everything you guys see and click work as planned, both in terms of the visual and more importantly in terms of like what goes behind the scenes of the calculations or of the stuff that we need to connect to the contracts and whatnot. And this part of the process, I distinctly remember it, like I think it was last year when we were working on the DAO. We had 4 to 5 hour long calls daily for a couple of weeks where it was all hands on deck. So imagine all of the devs on all of the tracks on the same call, everyone working on getting stuff to work perfectly together. So I mean, the funny part of it, of this story about the DAO, is that it was 90% of the work, all for some functionality that 90% of the users might not even see. I'm talking about the proposal creation flow, which is so intricate, and I'm actually hoping we can do a video showcasing it sometime, because it was so much work and almost no one got the chance to see it or use it. Anyway, back on tracks. Actually, the final stages for front end. It's going to be testing, fixing, and so on until there is nothing left to fix anymore. So we're not just looking at front end remediations by themselves. It's like interlaid with testing and all of that stuff. And click, yeah, it's Troy joining the call. Anyway, the third track, which is infrastructure and backend, heavy duty stuff, the least glamorous stuff, the unsung hero of the app, if you will. It starts at the same time as front-end development, lasts just as much, and is just as reliant as the front end is on a knowledge of the smart contracts. So what happens here is that all of the events triggered by smart contract calls are indexed by a scraper. They are processed and stored in a DB, and they serve to the front end as with the API as essentially what you see in terms of historical data, transaction tables, charts, and lots more. So it's a ton of work to reliably go from raw blockchain data, transactions, and smart contract calls on Ethereum to neat JSON data from the API. And all of this backend work is obviously underwritten by like a ton of infrastructure work. So we need to make sure everything works as intended. RPC calls happen when they need to happen and so on. Anyway, final track, the fourth one, testing. As I said, when talking about front end, this is not like a continuous process separate from everything else. It's rather one that's completely overlapped and they call it inlaid with the backend and front end work. And it's during this process that we make sure that we cover all of the possible edge cases and use the app in all possible ways, even in ways it's not intended to be used. So this is where we do one of each transaction types 1,000 times. We click each button 1,000 times. We make sure that front end, back end, smart contracts. We make sure that everything like connects as it should and does what it's supposed to do. So what this means is, all in all of the tracks end and like put us in on track for a mid-April launch, which is just about in time to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Smart Yield. And yeah, I guess that's it. There's a ton more info coming in the 3-part series of articles, so look out for those. Yeah, that's my TED Talk. Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy spending some time with your families and try not to think about DeFi so much. See you soon, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Bogdan. Appreciate you running through that. We will, as Bogdan mentioned, we'll have an article out in the coming couple of days. Going forward, we're gonna look to trial a new format where we shift some of the operations updates and the governance updates to the AMA later in the week. But today I'll pass it over to Pablo to run through a few items on his end, as well as a couple of the outstanding proposals. Pablo?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Just a few quick updates on the forum proposals and governance stuff. So to start, a few proposals around adding new smart alpha pools. First of which was like a Flocky pool. We have actually gotten a notification from the Chainlink team recently that they have added a Flocky Chainlink feed, so that makes it actually possible to deploy that pool, and that's something we'll be looking to do right after the holidays. Also, there was a discussion around the GOM USD pool, and that's still something that we are exploring, just because the GOM itself doesn't have a price feed, a reliable price feed. but like there are some, we have been having discussions under that forum post with some of the community members, and I think we'll be able to work together to find a way to basically launch that one too. Another forum proposal that I like to mention was from DeFi Dad around the East paired pools, and that's that actually was something we would like to look into anyway, just because I think we mentioned this earlier, but we are going to also suggest some smart alpha pool optimization based on the usage of specific assets on different L2s, and also kind of like trying to make this in the most efficient way, so that more people can use it, paying less gas fees, and it also would make a positive impact on the actual rebalancing of the epochs, since on mainnet it kind of like takes a lot right now to do that. Also for the Bond USD pool on optimism, we have gotten pretty good community feedback, and I think that considering the update from Bogdan that Bond is already on optimism, the last outstanding item for us to do that would be to get the Bond USD price feed on optimism, and that's something Christian and I have been working with the Chainlink and Synthetics team. So I think that's going to come out pretty much after the holidays as well. And we also have a few more outstanding proposals that I recommend everyone checking out. And one of them is from Ross from Diversify. And Diversify is basically an AMM that's built on Starkware. And they are featuring 16 liquidity pools on their platform. And what it would actually require from us as a DAO would be to allocate 100K worth of bond and create and set up a bond East pool on their AMA, and their team would match it on the East side. So please review that and kind of like join the discussion on that front too. And the last one would be a firm proposal from Sir Mike around like some smart yield optimization. So please check that as well. And that's kind of it from the forum proposals. Thank you everyone for being active and for checking that, and looking forward to kind of discussing more exciting stuff.
Thanks, Pablo. Appreciate the updates. Anything else, guys, for this call? Milad, Troy, you guys, what you want to add for this last project call before the new year?
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy holidays. Winter incoming.
Oh.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the time. And we can break.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Is that a hat, Troy?
Still recording here? You should probably end.
Yeah, so we're ending here the project call. It's number 32 actually, Troy. 32. It's been more than 60 something weeks. So happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.